Episode 1, The Nightmare Begins. Hi there, I'm Israel, and you're watching Snake with Legs. This is the first YouTube video of the year for this channel, and I figured it would be great to start it off with an introduction and let you know what the channel's about and what I'm about. So I'm terrible with just free recording and going off script because I ramble a lot. But I have here a really cool little a file to show to like keep myself on track. So first off, I want to share my findings in my search for reality. A tall claim, high order, but you work with what you have. So art, science, religion, history, psychology, spirituality, physics. I'd add to this like, I don't know. We covered quite a bit. That's pretty much all of them. But life is a quite the rabbit hole to fall down through. So I'll continue. Part 1: Thrown into existence. Slowly waking up to the fact that I'm a human. A big part of my journey in the beginning was validating my own existence. I think, therefore I am. Okay, easy. I exist. Being born, it's a pretty traumatic experience. I don't know if you remember it, but I remember it being dark and cold, very cold. But that's neither here nor there. We're all born. We all, I think there's some people that would like you to believe that they're like above, being human. I think especially celebrities and politicians, they'd like us all to believe that they're somehow different, but maybe depends what you mean by that. Either way, I digress. Questioning why. But why should I? Why should anything exist? If I can't experience sadness after death, then why not skip to the end credits? When the sun explodes, there will be no one to congratulate the human race for its continuation of the species. There's not going to be like a giant dialogue of end credits saying who, got the highest score. That's not really a thing. After it's all said and done and you're dead, there's not going to be some like moral, weight to either decisions that you make in life. Or is there? Or is there? Or is there not? Faced with the apparent meaninglessness of life, we are liable to dismiss it with either hedonism, enjoy it while it lasts, or a dismissal with that's just the way things are. And you get a lot of that nowadays, and I can respect it. However, that's not my MO. I have a real hard time accepting things and not knowing why. Like, if you tell me that's just the way it is, like, no, that's not just the way it is. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. So, I don't like either of those options, and thus the journey continues. And here we are, trying to find an answer that will put our pattern recognizing monkey brains at ease. So a big part of, existing is wanting to be happy. It's not the main point, or goal. You could say the main goal is to just stay alive, but, for as long as possible. And that's a fair point. And I think at a lower level, that is the point, I think that's why we have two brains. There's a reptile brain in us that's its only job. That's what it's for. If it does that, then it's working just the way it is. But there's something about being human that makes existing difficult. And that's kind of what I'm on about with this channel and with the things I talk about here is like, if we weren't human, I don't think it would be as difficult to exist, and I think there's a reason for that. Part 3, assuming there's an answer. Fundamentally, we should exist because we exist. So the end's justifying the beginning. It's like it started, so there has to be there has to be a reason. There has to be a first cause. We have to be able to trace it back and find out why. And maybe it might not be the why that we want, but at least it will make logical sense. If, that, and even that's going a little too specific. It's just kind of like this idea that we have to, assume that there's a way to find out. Human understanding is very different than a goldfish understanding. And unless there's something fundamentally wrong with our brains that we're not able to understand on our level, then, that's fine. I'm not sure that made sense. What I'm saying is if people are so fundamentally broken up here on an evolutionary level that we can't quite continue on, with our self-awareness, with an awareness of ourselves, and our flaws and our, and even with our virtues, it's like, how are we supposed to make this function, without some sort of foundational foundational drive, That's a hard topic. But I digress. We have our ending and our beginning. Then we have the world's beginning and the world's ending. I see the journey of understanding reality as a two-step process, building and tearing down. I think of it like building a tower. Not only do you need a solid foundation, but all the adjacent parts need to fit together and each do their part. Something I realized on my journey was that two ideas that seem contrary to each other do somehow work in reality. Part of the problem is that there are things, and then there are our ideas about things. So that's a really good point. Israel made a really good point here. He says, two things can be true and contradict each other, but somehow they work in reality. So somehow reality has to account for contradictions and things that don't make sense. Just because we don't understand them doesn't mean that they don't work. And there has to be a reason that they work together, even though they're contradictory. And that's kind of what I mean about assuming an answer. Let's see if we're still recording. Oh, perfect. And we're making good time. Let's see if we can get through this. Yeah, then part of the problem is that there are things, and then there are things, then are our ideas about things. And when I say ideas, I don't just mean our ideas as in words and concepts. I mean our actual ability to intake reality as it is. You might think that all eyes are the same, but that's not true. Our eyeballs aren't seeing things. They're just a filter for perception. And then our ability to construct a world out of that data and turn it into information, and then whole, concept of everything that we see. That's quite the process. And even at that point, how much of reality are you able to verify outside of yourself? All ended there. Part 4, putting it all together. Okay, our tools are flawed, but we work with what we have. What I've ultimately found was that our brains are limited in perception in nearly every conceivable way. Our perception is a closed box. Our 5 senses take in raw data and process it into information. We then relate to that information based on conditioning and biological factors. One of the fundamental principles is that it's not reality that changes, only our perception. Our perception is an extension of who we are. In order to see a tree, we need to distinguish it from the woods that tree is a part of. But this process causes us to limit ourselves from everything else. To clarify what that last part was, we make distinctions between things. The debate, right, is how much of reality is pre-downloaded into a newborn's head, right? Because you can think of their brain as just this empty slate. It's clean. They don't have any ideas per se, but as they grow older, those ideas become instilled in them because they're inside a body, and that body has physical limitations that puts limits on their ideas of themselves, on their brain. And that is a very interesting thing, because you think, oh, well, if a kid is raised to believe certain ways and to have certain pattern recognizing traits, then whether reality is actually like that, that's how they'll interact with reality. That's how they'll interact with themselves. So, yeah, but like that whole thing, putting it all together, that's kind of why I'm here and I'm recording videos about it, is because I have a lot of, ideas and thoughts that in my own mind are kind of scattered, and I want to be able to put them down in one place and kind of catalog them by topic, and be able to share that with other people, just so I can verify that it's mildly coherent too. Because something can make sense to me, but as soon as I try explaining it to the other people, it might not always make sense. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to this YouTube channel, but I'm not going to try packing everything into one video. It's going to take at least like 5 introduction videos for everything to make sense. But I figured starting with this would do the most amount of justice for what I'm going for in the first video. And if you stuck through it for this long, then I thank you, and I'm super excited to see you in the next one. So like, subscribe. The goal is to get to 18,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So let's do that. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.